Hey guys, it's Hey guys, it's Chris. From a bear that snuck in through a doggy door to a pack of wild cows that invaded their local supermarket, here are 10 astonishing stories of animal invasions. Number 10. Bear and the cat door. Depending on where you live in the world, you are susceptible to animal invasions. In fact, nobody's home is really safe. Take, for example, the bear cub that tried to enter Douglas Harder's home through the cat door. According to the report from CNN, the bear attempted to invade Harder's Idaho home by poking his head in through the tiny cat door. Harder managed to get the most adorable photograph of the bear with its head stuck inside the tiny hole in the door, and nothing more came of the incident. However, it's not the first time he had been invaded by bears. Before this adorable incident, a bear entered the sliding door of his second-floor deck and completely pillaged his condo. It apparently took Harder over 2 hours to clean the mess made by the rampaging bear. According to Harder himself, the bears could care less that he's even there. Sometimes he spots them hanging out on his deck. He sees them skulking around his house, and even when he goes outside and tries to scare them away, they're completely unfazed. In the most recent bear invasion, he had his pantry raided. A bear appeared to have once again gone through a sliding glass door, but this time it got into some brownie mix, a can of soda, and a chocolate bar. It then left a giant poop in the middle of Harder's living room. Obviously, with wild bears, the situation could always be much worse than this. Harder is lucky the bears have never tried to hurt him. They're just really big fans of his property. Number 9. Cougar in the kitchen. A curious bear in the living room is one thing, but how about a hungry cougar in the kitchen? In the Bolivian capital of La Paz, a city that rests high in the mountains of South America, a resident apparently came home to find a wild cat just kind of hanging out in her kitchen. As reported by DW News, park rangers were called in to capture the enormous savage cat. The rangers found the cougar stretched out, dangerously dehydrated, and kind of starving. They ended up feeding the poor animal for 2 months before releasing it back into the wild. As for the resident who found the cougar in her kitchen, she just kind of went on with her life as usual. It's not clear how the animal broke in or why it didn't leave. Perhaps it was hoping someone would grill it up some dinner. But the video footage uploaded online proves that it got stranded in the woman's kitchen with nowhere to go. Too bad it wasn't a bit smaller, then maybe she could have had a new guard dog. Number 8. Snake invasion. Probably the last thing anyone wants to be attacked by is a giant snake while sitting on the toilet. But that's pretty much what happened to a Thai man at work when he took a bathroom break. He found an enormous python dangling from the bathroom ceiling. This happened in the north of Thailand, where these kinds of snakes slithering about is more common than in other places in the world. The poor shop assistant had simply just wanted to relieve himself when the giant 8-foot serpent came out of nowhere, apparently breaking through the ceiling in a hunt for food. The brave guy managed to capture video of the snake, which quite frankly boggles the mind. If I were trying to use the toilet and a massive monster broke through the ceiling, it's probably the last thing I would do is go for my phone and start taking photos. What about you? However, the serpent appeared to be just as dismayed by what had happened. It turned around and tried to slink back through the ceiling, and nobody has seen the slippery snake since. According to the New York Post, the reticulated python is the longest python ever and can grow to be over 20 feet in length. These are animals that should be feared, especially in Southeast Asia. In 2018, a giant python killed a woman in Indonesia and then swallowed her whole. If you saw a giant snake in your bathroom, would you try and take pictures of it, or would you run for the hills? Let me know how bold you think you are in the comments below. And if you haven't already, click that subscribe button for more videos like this one. Number 7. A sleeping seal. New Zealand is home to a lot of incredible things. It's where the infamous hobbits live. Mordor is located somewhere in the north, and adorable penguins call the island country home. I mean, honestly, New Zealand seems like one of the raddest places on Earth. A local resident was reminded of the magic of New Zealand when she came home to discover a baby seal just hanging out in her kitchen. The darling baby seal apparently wandered away from the water through a suburb, across a few roads, past a cat door, then up the stairs before it stopped in the woman's kitchen. It's a journey that really doesn't make a whole lot of sense, especially when seals usually stay fairly close to the water. But nonetheless, that's where the animal ended up. It politely invaded the woman's house and then decided to take a nap on her couch. She caught some pretty amazing photographs of the seal hanging out in the corner of the couch, just like a cute kind of fluffy dog. The woman who found the seal called the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, also known as the SPCA, who then called the Department of Conservation. Apparently, the Conservation Department had been looking for the seal pup all afternoon. It had just been weaned from its mother, and for whatever reason, it had run away and gotten lost in the city. Bye, Mom. Hello, big new world. Number 6. Giant lizard invasion. So we've had bears coming in through the cat door, snakes in the workplace bathroom. Now let's talk about a whole species expanding their territory across the US. There's a group of giant, over 4 feet long South American lizards invading the Sunshine State of Florida. Why? Well, people grew fond of the jumbo lizards and brought them to the United States to keep them as pets. But because they grow to be so large and vicious, most pet owners simply open their doors or gates and let them outside so they can go and do their own thing. They're known as tegu lizards, and there are currently 2 massive colonies of them living in Florida. According to a report from Reuters, these massive reptiles are planning an invasion of the Carolinas and central Texas. These are predatory lizards that are extremely good at adapting to their surroundings, which has made them able to thrive in the United States even though they belong in South America. What makes this invasion so dangerous? Well, tegu lizards have strong jaws. They can thump animals with their massive tails, and they kind of love stuffing themselves on the eggs of indigenous American animals. These lizards are an invasive species. If they continue to invade more states and branch out, they could have a detrimental effect on the native species of the southern United States. But we won't truly know how intense the infiltration will be until the effects are already upon us. Number 5. The White House raccoons. One of the strangest animal invasions actually involves the White House. According to the Washingtonian, there has been an aggressive raccoon or several aggressive raccoons that have invaded the White House and even attacked reporters. A CNN Washington correspondent was captured on film screaming at a raccoon to get away from him on a live broadcast. The video, of course, went viral on YouTube, but this wasn't the first time that a raccoon had invaded the White House. They apparently have a long history of showing up uninvited and have attacked multiple news crews on the North Lawn throughout the years. Someone even tried to capture the raccoons using a marshmallow inside of a steel trap, but the next day, the cage was empty and the marshmallow had mysteriously vanished. It's unclear where these raccoons live, but it seems that no matter what anyone does, they continue to invade the White House and attack reporters. Number 4. Wild cows invade grocery store. Hong Kong can be a pretty strange place. It's one of the only places on Earth where a herd of cows has been caught invading a grocery store. They trashed the place and started to eat all its fruits and vegetables. This incident happened when 4 cows entered the Fusion supermarket and ravaged the place for at least 2 hours. There's even video footage of the cows wreaking havoc that can be found online. Of course, this went down in a rural town, but it's still a pretty shocking thing to see. But what's really hilarious is that even after the cows made their getaway, 3 of them were spotted later that night at around 10:30, as if waiting for the store to reopen. According to a district councilor for the region, there were worries that the cows might strike again. There are about 1,100 wild cows wandering and grazing around Hong Kong. Lots of people think it's annoying to have these cows roaming onto roads with traffic, but they don't understand that these sites were where the cows and their predecessors used to eat and live before the landscapes were covered with cement and turned into a city, said the chairman of the Lantau Buffalo Association, Ho Loi. So maybe us humans are the ones that invaded these animals' homes instead of the other way around. Number 3. Planet of the Monkeys. A real-life Planet of the Apes situation is unfolding in the ancient Thai town of Lop Buri. Ever since the coronavirus struck, this city has been devoid of tourists, and this has caused the local monkeys to go to war with each other. Lop Buri is 800 years old, but it's been a very popular tourist destination since the 90s. But since traveling has been limited and not as many people are in the area, there hasn't been a lot of free food for the local troublemaking monkeys. Then on March 12th, a war broke out between 2 different factions of the monkeys in the center of the town, resulting in an epic street brawl that terrified the locals. Apparently, the turf war involving dozens of monkeys started over a single item of food. Make no mistake, these monkeys are invaders. Since they're basically starving, they have no choice but to invade the local townspeople and steal their food. The city residents started to lay out food offerings at the local temple to calm down the crowds of angry monkeys. Without more tourists coming soon, it's unclear how long such large troops of monkeys will survive. Number 2. Adorable fawn invasion. This next story is a lot more adorable than rampaging monkeys or giant lizards. A fawn recently broke into a Colorado home by breaking through the basement window. This is something that would normally be done by a burglar, but the fawn didn't want to steal anything. The young deer likely got lost and accidentally smashed itself through the window. Officers were called in and forced to use a blanket to grab the rioting animal and carry it out to the front yard. Luckily, the fawn was uninjured, and after it was released, it hopped away in search of its mother and vanished into the bushes. Still, it's quite a surprise for the homeowners who probably didn't expect to be invaded by Bambi. Number 1. Roach City. Nobody likes roaches. In fact, depending on where you live, cockroaches might be the bane of your existence. Even in New York City, cockroaches can be a major problem. But what a lot of people don't know is that back in 1979, there was a monstrous cockroach infestation that would make headlines across the country. It all happened when police in New York responded to someone's complaint about a barking dog. When they arrived at the house, what they found instead of a barking dog were literal rivers of cockroaches streaming out of the windows of a modest two-family home. It proved to be one of the worst invasions of cockroaches in the state's history. So how many cockroaches are we talking about here? There were an estimated 1 million German cockroaches inside of a single home. According to the New York Times article, it may have been the largest household infestation of cockroaches ever recorded. It's not clear what happened to these roach invaders, but the house was probably abandoned and condemned. This was during one of the worst roach epidemics in history, when people were just kind of forced to live with the problem. Even though the roaches were spreading salmonella poisoning and were responsible for an asthma epidemic inside big cities. Today, the roach issue is mostly confined to the sewers and to dark basements, but some German cockroaches still plague New York homes, even in 2021. Thanks for watching. Has your house ever been invaded by an animal? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and thank you for watching. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more amazing videos.